The Dhaliwal family says that they know they made a mistake and this is a lesson to be learned. Police say that leaving your cars unattended in the driveway make it easy for thieves to slide in and drive off. Ryerson is continuing to promote different ways for fans to get involved, and Pack the Mac is just one of them. If you want to show support for your team, come by. Doors open at 5 p.m. and ball drop is at 6 p.m. For Ryersonian TV, I'm Lexy Benedict. Today, Ryerson saw a lot of energy from the student body protesting against changes for post-secondary education. The PC government's changes are to be in effect in the new year, but students are rallying for change. The Ryerson Rams men's basketball team will be back in September to kick off a new season. The Dhaliwal family has a typical morning routine, but Monday morning was anything but.
My dad's starting it at 38.
Every morning, Ajit's husband steps outside to start both of their cars. Then, he goes back inside for a minute, grabs his lunch and a couple of things for work.
When he sees my dad step inside the house, he power walks to our vehicle. While looking at the entrance, he puts his right hand to the door and opens it slightly, sits in.
In the 60 seconds it took for him to do that, a thief stole their SUV. Along with the car, Ajit's wallet, ID, and some cash were also stolen. Even though the family's security cameras didn't scare away the thief, they hope it will give them answers. Police say the footage will also help with the investigation, and the family says their insurance company is giving them full support.
Because this is a lesson to not to me, I think to everyone. We should be careful. Even it is in our property, but this shows that we are not safe.
The Dhaliwal family says that they know they made a mistake and this is a lesson to be learned. Police say that leaving your cars unattended in the driveway make it easy for thieves to slide in and drive off. Unfortunately, the return rate on stolen vehicles is not high.
Nowadays, when cars are being taken, they're just not being taken and continue to be driven throughout the city. They're being taken and they're literally taking them apart, whether they're being rebinned, stripped for parts, or they're being shipped out altogether at one that's high-end vehicle so that they're repurposed somewhere else.
The best thing to do is to sit inside your car while it heats up. It may be cold, but it's better than dealing with what the Dhaliwal family is dealing with. Lexy Benedict, CTV News Toronto. After dropping off her 4-year-old son at school,
there was just blood, like a lot of blood everywhere.
Nicole O'Brien came back to her apartment building to find cops, police canine unit, and a horrific scene.
I seen someone laying on the floor, like the woman laying on the floor, and she was just all covered in blood.
At 9:04 Tuesday morning, police got a call for shots being fired inside an apartment building at 50 Lotherton Pathway near Lawrence Avenue West and Caledonia Road.
We're definitely canvassing all the floors at 50 Lotherton Pathway. Again, on the outside as well, as you can tell, this is a residential area, densely populated, so we're going to be here for a while.
In the 6th floor hallway, police found mother and son, 24-year-old Mark Dukram and 47-year-old Shimon Jagru, suffering from gunshot wounds. Investigators say that the victims were targeted and are still combing through evidence for answers. The victims were rushed to hospital in critical condition. Currently, Dukram is in non-life-threatening condition and his mother is suffering from life-altering injuries. Police say Jagru's injuries will likely leave her blind. The suspect is a man who's black, wearing all black clothing, including a hooded jacket and a black backpack. 3 security camera photos have been released. You cannot see the suspect's full face, just a partial view. Police are asking anyone who has any information on the suspect or the shooting to call them or to call Crime Stoppers anonymously. Lexy Benedict, CTV News Toronto. The anticipation has been building all week for the provincial walkout against OSAP cuts. Hundreds of students turned up for the protest, which was in response to Premier Doug Ford's changes to student loans and funding. Changes include taking away the 6-month grace period to repay OSAP loans without interest. Students from low-income families will no longer get their tuition for free. Instead, tuition will now be reduced by 10%. Naja Pereira says that having OSAP is crucial to funding the education of many students, including herself.
I would not be able to attend school at all if I did not receive that OSAP funding. I want to make sure that students, marginalized students who are going to feel this hardest, of course, continue to feel supported and make sure that they don't stop learning because they can't afford to.
RSU President McLean DeWeaver says that student attendance is significant.
I think we care, and I think we care that our education's under attack. We care that Doug Ford's going after the most vulnerable people. You know, they like to say that millennials in our generation doesn't care, but we do care. So I think it just took, the right people coming together to put this together, and I think this is really the start of something.
Crystal Hines, Community Service Director for the RSU, says that these changes will affect the resources on campus that she and many students rely on.
Those student groups are literally why I've been able to feel safe and secure on this campus. And so again, we need to not just look at access to education as financial ability to enter in, but what kind of student groups and resources exist in that kind of space that are going to make it sustainable for people like me.
This walkout is similar to other student protests that have happened across the country. Julian Arsenault is a member of Fight Back Canada and was invited to Ryerson to speak at the walkout.
This really led to this massive 6-month all-out strike in Quebec. This is what made it happen, and I think that this can happen again, and it can happen here.
Post-secondary changes will come into effect in September, but that's not stopping students from fighting back. And they all have messages for Premier Doug Ford.
I just want you to understand that we're really experiencing hardships in these times, and you need to listen to the youth that you said you would look out for. I understand that it's a different politics when you're working in provincial government and you're dealing with a lot of different players, but you guys need to remember and hold yourself accountable to the commitment you've made to young people in Ontario.
We're not playing. We're coming for you. We're coming for this entire government. And if you think that you have the audacity to tell our students, to tell our faculty, to tell our universities what is in our best interest without consultation, you have another thing coming. You waged war on the student movement when you decided to make a decision that was going to negatively affect us, and we have responded, and we will continue to respond. We will continue to show up, and you better revoke that decision.
If I had the chance to speak to Doug Ford, I would say, look at this. This is only the beginning. And if you don't back down, this will get bigger. We'll move to an all-out strike, a one-day strike, two-day strike, and eventually an unlimited strike. And that's what's coming for you if you don't back down.
Today, Ryerson saw a lot of energy from the student body protesting against changes for post-secondary education. The PC government's changes are to be in effect in the new year, but students are rallying for change. Lexy Benedict, Ryersonian TV.